How's it going, everybody? Seminar number 3, and it's on skills versus capacities. So first up, we have the capacity in the back squat. So I'm going to use one of my clients in E2. We're going to look at her back squat and her range of motion. So looking at capacities, we look at flexibility. Has somebody got the ability to reach the bottom position? And for me, in my opinion, it's a combination of a lack of strength and also a lack of range of motion and flexibility. So is Nitu strong enough to get out of the bottom position should she actually get there? So what happens when we put her next to an Olympic athlete, and I'm sure everybody knows Dmitry Klokov, so when he gets to the bottom, nice trunk angle, chest high, sits right down deep into it, drives up from the bottom with utilization of the glutes. So can we improve Nitu's range of motion? So we're looking at increasing the hip flexor flexibility with a couple of exercises here. So regular stretching with Nitu will help her range of motion, help her to get down into that bottom position, and also teaching the body and the hip to open up and allow her access to that bottom position. It's also a skill, but it's definitely a capacity in terms of getting to the bottom and making sure that we gradually build up the flexibility and range of motion of the hips. So we look at this video on how we can utilize a kettlebell to help us access that deep position, which is something that we could do regularly with Nitu to help her to get down to the bottom of a squat. So points to note to improve Nitu's squat, starting with the depth. We would like the calves to be able to touch the hamstrings. And then also her knees and toes to turn out, which she actually can do. That would also help the trunk angle. So we want her sitting as upright as possible to reduce the amount of shearing forces on the lower back. And can she get down into the deep position to recruit those glutes? Has Nitu also got the strength of leg to reduce knee valgus? She's also seems to be, we seem to wonder, has she got the muscle activation to help her get out of that bottom position? So we see Nitu lunging, and even though she's a very accomplished dancer, she still has a lack of strength in some of the movements that she does, particularly when we see her walking, lunging. We see a little bit of internal rotation and some knee valgus. So we need to improve that strength. So moving on, we have Valerie and skill acquisition. So Valerie is another client who we have a look at her doing the hang power snatch, and we're going to check her skill level in that motion. So we see Valerie, when we pause the video here, how far the bar starts to come away from her body as she pulls it up. Her knees don't get properly under the bar. So we look at seeing how we can improve that. Now this is Valerie's first time actually Olympic lifting, so she's done very well. So with a couple of cues we try to improve it, and there's still a way to go. So how do we improve the technique and skill? So we look at this video here of this Chinese Olympic athlete and how close she brings the bar up to her body as she does the second pull. So this could be something that we would implement with Valerie to help her improve her technique. And we look how high the bar comes and how high the elbows are as the athlete finishes off the second pull and goes into a transition phase. Also with this other Olympic athlete, we see his and Valerie's technique is actually quite similar. So the bar is actually quite far away from his body as he pulls and as he moves into that transition phase. Now we come back to Valerie, and she needs to get them elbows a bit higher into the high pull, and maybe her torso and her trunk angle to be a little bit higher, and knees more under the bar and more of a straight jump. So we look at the speed at which this athlete moves the bar and gets the bar as quick and as high above his body as possible with a nice overhead squat. So I moved on to see if we could see Valerie's her capacity and her skill level in terms of an overhead squat. So I have a look at here. What we have is Valerie doing her overhead squat with a nice little weight on the bar, and we see she definitely has the range and capacity to get down into the bottom position. She also has the skill to do this movement. She sits nice and deep into the squat, hamstrings touching off the calves, with the bar nicely placed above her head, and she's a very good trunk angle and position in the back with very little tucking going on. So Valerie definitely has the skill and the capacity to produce this movement with ease. She just needs to practice it more. So it then translates that she can definitely catch the bar in the bottom position. She just needs to do a lot more practice at it. So we look at this Chinese athlete again and look at how he's moving the bar with his in his warm-up section, and hopefully we can improve Valerie to this level with a bit more practice. Thanks for watching, guys.